There we go. We're live. Ladies and gentlemen, you once again welcome to the Kingdoms podcast. And today I have with me, a legend, a legend. Uh, Please make welcome the real deal, Brian Ford. How
What's
are
up, my
you,
brother?
sir?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You are a legend, an MMA champ, a boxing champ, a champ in real life, right? You call yourself the real deal, but then you're a real life champion. Forget martial arts, right?
Yeah.
Something that really attracted me to you was, um when I heard this man speak about you, it's like, okay, how can somebody be so resilient, so determined? I heard Joe Rogan talk about you on this podcast. And I was like, wow, this man, this
Yeah,
man is
yeah.
superhuman. I have to talk to this man. So thank
Yeah.
you very much.
Oh yeah, for
Thank you very
sure.
much for coming aboard. Yeah, so let's before we talk about the Joe Rogan, talk about you. Let's take you back to the beginning where it all started, right? Can we get to meet you as a person? Like, who do you think you are? Like, who do you think you are
Who
as a
do I
human
think
being?
I am?
Yes,
I,
who do you think
I'm
you are?
him. You know, I'm that guy. I'm that guy. Yeah, first and foremost, I'm the family man. I got a wife, two kids. That comes first always, and then I'm a fighter at heart. People always ask me, am I a boxer or am I an MMA fighter? And I said, I'm a fighter. If it makes dollars, it makes sense.
Interesting, interesting. But then, speaking of, going back to the beginning, like, what was your childhood like, and who were your childhood influences as a
Yeah,
person?
I kind of grew up, a rough childhood. My mom and dad divorced and split up when I was 4 years old. And then I just, it's me, my brother, and my sister. We live with my mom. So it was it was a rough childhood. Never had all the good things that all the kids had, right? Single mom on welfare. It was a hard grind, but it made me the man who I am today, right? um, I was an athlete my whole life, played every sport, and whatever sport I played, I was always at the highest level. And yeah, here we are today. I got a wife, two beautiful children. I did my thing in mixed martial arts. I did my thing in boxing. I still got a few fights to go. I still got a few fights left in me. I'm 42 years old, but me. I still get it in there with the
Oh,
26 and 24-year-olds in the gym. So when I leave the gym, I feel 24.
so you're young at heart. You're young at heart. Age is
Young at
nothing
heart,
but a
yes,
number. Age is just a number,
Age is just a
right?
number. It's like fine wine, it just comes with a little bit more wisdom.
Oh yeah, definitely. The older the berry, the sweeter the juice.
That's exactly right. So, and the thing about with me is like over the years of training mixed martial arts and boxing, I've sparred so many rounds that now it's like, it's a natural thing to me. I could just get in there and get it on when it comes time, and especially when you get older, the whole goal is to train smarter, not harder. I had all those
Yes,
hard days in
definitely.
my early days. I put in those hard rounds. Now I'm able to just turn it on when the switch needs to be flicked.
Interesting. But then, like, what really inspired your journey in martial arts?
Yeah, well, I got in a little bit of trouble in 2003. I ended up going away for 2.5 years, and during
Oh,
that
it's
time was
tough.
when The Ultimate Fighter started on TV. So The Ultimate Fighter show
Oh,
started on TV. The first one with like Pete Spratt, Diego Sanchez. All the Stephen Bonner. all the beginning
Yes, of
guys,
course.
right? So,
And
I
Forrest
was
Griffin.
there every night, every Thursday, sitting there watching my 14-inch little TV. And I was like, man, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do when I get out. And you know what?
Wow.
Did my time, got out, and here I am today, 60 professional fights, boxing, mixed martial arts, and a few titles.
But then, like, you were inspired by The Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah,
Some people get inspired, but it's a different thing stepping into that cage. Like, what really made you step into that cage? Some people train, they never go pro.
Yeah. Well,
But
see,
what was the
that's the thing is,
motivation?
growing up, my dad was the Canadian lightweight champion, ranked number 3 in the world in boxing. So, he fought like Ray Boom Boom Mancini, Ken Buchanan. He was the Commonwealth champion. Michael Logety, he fought the big names of boxing back in
Big
the
names to
70s
this
and
time.
80s, right? So,
Mhm.
there was always that I wanted to fight, but mom wouldn't let us fight because she saw back in the day dad fighting 15 rounders and stuff. It was different back then, right? And
It's a tough one.
yeah, so but I got in fights all the time at school. I was always up for a challenge. If somebody said they wanted to fight me, I said, "Where are we fighting? The monkey bars? Where are we going?"
The spirit of a fighter.
That
Do you,
I had that in me. So when I saw the Ultimate Fighter, it kind of gave me that extra drive. I knew that it was something that I'd be able to, really excel at if I put the time in.
Interesting. So, just what I like to know, do you take Modelo?
Pardon
Do you
me?
drink Modelo? Do you drink Modelo, the
Modelo.
beer?
No, I
Yeah.
don't.
Brewed,
I don't like beer. I'm not a
why?
beer guy.
But then it says brewed for those with a fighting spirit.
Okay. I like that Hennessy.
But then is Hennessy brewed for those with a fighting spirit as well?
Hey, it must. Yeah, I'm not a big drinker, right? But when I do drink, I like to have that, that high class.
Oh yeah, definitely. Hennessy is it's associated with the high class. So between being a fighter and being a lover, would you say you're a fighter and a lover, or a fighter
I love.
alone?
I love to fight.
Oh,
and I fight for my love.
oh yeah, right there. The pause, right? You fight to love and you love to fight. So pick it.
Which way you want
Pick
to
your
have
point.
it.
Whichever way you
You want my
you
love or
fight
you
to
want my
love.
fight? Which one you want?
Both ways, both ways. Interesting. So, but throughout your career, right, you've actually faced a wide array of opponents, with different fighting styles. Which fight would you consider as your toughest, and what did you learn from that fight?
Oh, the toughest fight would,
Or
it'd
let's say
probably
top
be
three.
the top three. I would say, uh, there was one fight that I lost that, that I shouldn't have lost, but, it made me learn that the mental game is far much more, um, using your mental game is far much more than your athleticism. You can
Hmm.
be in the best shape of your life, on point, everything is ready to go, but the mental game, if it's not there, you're already losing the battle. And I had that one slip up in one of my fights where the day of the fight, mentally I just wasn't there, and I found out. I found out the hard way. I got choked out. I didn't get beat up, but I
Whoa.
got choked out. But it was something that really made me realize that the mental warfare is the biggest challenge in fighting. Mentally, if you're not there, it's very hard.
So interesting that actually drove right into the next question that I actually penned down for you. And the next question is, MMA is much of a mental game as it is a physical game. So, how do you prepare mentally for a fight? And have you developed any particular routines or rituals over the years?
Yeah, with I've always been a strong mental person, right? The mentality, is no quit. When especially in the combat sports, you got to have that mental ability, whereas not off of coming up being cocky, but being confident, right? Your mentality's got
Exactly.
to be in, like, throughout my fighting career, I always like, oh, people would come up to me, man, you're fighting this guy, you're fighting this guy's fought. I'm saying, yeah, well, he hasn't fought me yet. I don't care who else he fought, he hasn't fought me yet. And that's the kind of mentality you have to have in your mind that, you know, you are the best. You may not be the best, but that mentality in your head of you telling yourself that you're the best is going to keep you going.
Hmm. Definitely, because I see that play out in quite a number of fights, right? You see people who their skill sets, this is styles based fights, right? You
Yep.
feel like this person's skill sets doesn't actually match up against another person, and then you see that person go out because they believe in themselves and beat this other person that is a world beater, that's a superstar, and then everybody's is amazed, like, but then the person's like, I believed in myself, I did it. An example is, let's take in the UFC, for example. Let's go back in the day. Look at Anderson Silva. See the way Anderson Silva was walking through everybody, and then he got to what's this guy, Chris
Uh,
Weidman, who beat him twice. Chris
oh,
Weidman.
um, I know the first one he he broke his leg. Chris Weidman.
Yeah, yeah, Chris Weidman, yes.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah, Chris Weidman beat him twice.
yep. And he
Twice.
because he had that mentality that he was not losing.
But then sometimes you see some people who have a tough mental game, uh, and you get to meet another person with a tough mental game as well. And it's not a battle of wits, like who is going to crack? Who's going to crack? Look at Anderson Silva as well versus Chael Sonnen.
Yes.
You saw that first fight, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Chael
Yeah.
Sonnen, Chael Sonnen was beating him down up till the very fifth round.
Yep.
Then
Triangle choke.
he got a triangle choke.
Yeah.
That is the mentality. Like, you never give up. You keep believing.
Keep
Just
going. Yeah.
keep going. And of course, in recent time, I saw Sean Strickland. Right, you see what he did with Adesanya. I was like, it felt like a bad dream. I felt like,
Yeah.
I was in a nightmare because Adesanya is my boy. He's
Yeah.
Nigerian.
Yeah.
I am Nigerian.
I'm
So,
Nigerian
like,
too, brother.
oh wow,
Yeah.
fantastic!
Yes. 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 2020. It's funny that you said that because you know, my dad, his dad came from the slave train from Africa to Oklahoma. And then, so I was always asking the last few years, my dad, what type of African are we? But my dad, he never ever knew, because he come from 9 brothers, 9 sisters, and so he never knew what part of Africa we were from. So I actually did the ancestry
The,
DNA testing.
the 23
And to
and me.
find out, because my daughter was like, Dad, I got to do a project at school, and they're asking me what country, where I'm from. Like, I know I'm from Canada, but where's my African background and this and this? So I was like, man, you know what? I don't
Wow.
even know. Like, we got to find this out. So I found out and came back that I'm 21% Nigerian.
Fantastic.
Yes,
Fantastic. That's my brother. My
yeah,
Niger
brother.
brother.
So I got the
Fantastic.
Nigerian, Congo and Western Bantu people. So yeah, I got a mix of that in there. So actually now I know when people say, "Oh, what part of Africa are you from?" I say, "Oh man, I'm Nigerian."
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. That's a
Yeah.
great one. That's a great one. You see, blood is thicker than water. You
Oh,
know?
100, always, always.
Blood is thicker than water. Like, we're always going to connect. I think I don't know. I think I noticed your profile when after I interviewed David Feldman of the
Okay.
KFC. I think I saw that you liked that the snippet. I was like, okay.
Yep.
And then I saw you. I was like, oh, this is the guy Joe Rogan was talking about. Oh, let me reach out to the guy. Let me reach
Yeah,
out
yeah,
to
yeah.
him. I
Oh
never knew
yeah.
I was talking to my Niger brother.
Yes, yes, yes.
It's always great to be able to like trace your ancestry and identify with your people. Do you intend to visit Nigeria anytime soon?
Brother, that's my on my bucket list is to go and visit. That's it's I haven't got there yet. I've been everywhere else, I've been Russia, I've been to London, I've been to Poland, I've been all over Germany, I've been to Russia, all over Russia, so it's Nigeria would be I would love to go there. Love to go there,
Don't worry, don't worry. We can plan something. You come to
Yes.
London and then we'll go to Nigeria together.
Yeah.
You will have the best time of your life. I don't
Yeah.
think you want to go back because
Yeah.
the weather is good. The
Oh,
weather is great. The food is great. The people are welcoming. Like,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
you
Bro,
would
I need to
would
get
have
out
an
of where I
amazing.
am because we got -40 here some days.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
bro.
minus 40 Fahrenheit.
Celsius.
Celsius.
Yes, brother. Yeah, I know. You guys never heard of that type of cold, yeah? That's why we're built different here in Canada.
Excuse me. Like it gets to -5 in the UK, and I'm complaining bitterly. And I'm like,
Uh, bro,
oh,
I got to start my car 2 times before I go out and get in it.
excuse me,
Yeah.
-40. Please, you need immediate evacuation.
100%, bro. We don't even
Like,
leave the
how do you?
house.
Whoa, how do you survive? That is.
Gotta have it. You gotta be strong. Only the strong survive.
At this point, I used to think I was strong, but let me reevaluate it.
And it's funny because all winter I'm always outside in the mornings in shorts because I get up in the morning and even if I have to shovel, like 2 weeks ago I was shoveling a bunch of snow and I was in shorts and my neighbors they always look at me like I'm crazy, but I say I've been born in this, so we're used to it, and I always wear shorts because I get up in the morning, I take my kids to school. And then I go to the gym. So I'm like, man, I'm not putting on pants that I have to take back off when I get to the gym. It's like,
I don't know, what are you made of? Are you made out of clay?
yeah. Yeah.
Now I'm beginning to believe that it's like God created human beings out of clay and water.
Yeah.
Now I believe God is the potter, and we are the clay.
Yeah.
you
Exactly.
are the clay. Jeez, that is extreme. That
Yeah.
is the most extreme of extremities. But anyways, on the other side of extremes, right? I think I was checking the weather in Abuja recently. I saw the weather in Abuja is 36 degrees.
Pardon
That's
me?
very warm. 36 degrees.
Oh, yeah.
36.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
We
Celsius.
get heat here too in the
Positive.
summertime, and we got to enjoy it because it's the only time we get it.
Like how high does it go?
Sometimes it gets to plus 35,
Whoa.
33. Yeah. It'd only be for a few days, but you got to enjoy those days. Get out and soak up that vitamin D.
And then they say heat waves.
Then, oh yeah, yeah. In the last
Uh
last couple of years, though, we've had lots of fires out here. So
so
yeah,
those fires, they're natural fires.
that's what they saying. but but the government nowadays, right? They do anything.
Conspiracy theories, right?
you know,
But but
it can't be a
but let,
conspiracy theory if it's coming true, though, right?
I guess probably that's why Joe Rogan is comfortable talking about you. Have you met Joe Rogan? Have you met him before?
I met him one time at the UFC way back in Montreal when they first came to Canada.
Oh, interesting. And then, like, how did you feel when he was talking about you on his podcast?
Well, it was crazy because I didn't even hear it first, and all of a sudden, like a few people started sending me. They're like, "Bro, you're on the Joe Rogan podcast," and I was like, "What?" And I go and I look, and I'm like, "Damn, I'm on the Joe Rogan podcast," you know? Yeah. No, it was pretty cool to see that you know that he was talking about me, and it's you know it was, and I know why. It's because
For being a tough guy.
I'm a rare breed, you know. That's what I tell people. I'm a rare breed when it comes to things, right?
Interesting. So hold that thought a bit, right? Now, Joe Rogan likes to talk about a lot of conspiracy theories. And speaking of this, natural fires, I think at some point he's probably talked about it. But there's this guy, Joel Austin. He's a pastor. I think his church is in Houston, Texas, right? He was saying something about the natural fires, and then he was like, it's sort of like nature's way of balancing things out, sort of that there are certain like trees in the forest, right? That their seeds need to get exposed by way of the fire so that the trees can procreate or something, like you can have new trees and all, right? And then you have like a lot of vegetation in the the forests, right? And when the fires come, it has a way of clearing these things out, and you need certain nutrients on the soil that the fire with the ash actually does produce. So do you believe that nature has a way of balancing the population, even when it comes to like coincidences like the wildfires? Do you buy the theory?
I don't buy that theory. I don't buy that theory.
so
Yeah,
so in your own
nature does its own thing. You know, I don't think it knows how to balance itself out here and there. I know the government tries to balance everything out,
Mhm,
right? And it's not always in our favor.
mhm.
So, you know.
So for the wildfires you've been experiencing recently, who do you think is responsible? Let me put you on the spot.
Well, I know for sure that they start naturally. You know, obviously because we've had some dry weather, we never had rain. You know, little thing will start the fires and stuff. But just seeing how the last little while, over the whole world, there's been fires happening everywhere, and it's just like, like I don't know, I don't know, man. God works in mysterious ways,
Mysterious ways.
But the government they try to trick us too. And I trust
Wow.
God, not the government.
No, that's a great one. Speaking still of Joe Rogan, his recent interview with Cat Williams, he saw how they were speaking about the existence of God, right? And then Cat Williams was like, "There's actually more evidence, right? More persuasive evidence supporting the fact that God does exist, as against God not existing." So for you, like, why do you think God exists? Like, to you, at some point, you would have some conviction in your life as a human being that, okay, God exists. So for you, what actually gave you that conviction? Is it about being born into a Christian family, or you just think that everybody around you believes that there's a God? Like, what gives you that conviction yourself as a person that God does exist?
Yeah, well, I grew up as like Christian, right? So I went to
Mhm.
Sunday school, I went to church and stuff, and then as I started getting older, um, we didn't go as much anymore. And today, I haven't been to church in a long time, but I still believe that there is that higher power, and I do believe that there is a God. It's you got to have faith, right? And things that happen in your life, you need to understand that, there's always things that are going to happen in your life, and there's a reason why. And for me, with my life, from where I've come from and where I am now, I always believe that, God had a path for me, right? When I ended up going away for those 2.5 years, a bunch of things happens in that time where I was kind of sat back, and I felt like, God sat me there to sit back and watch what's going on in the world and with the people that I've been hanging around with and what I was doing, to kind of let me know this isn't the life you want. So, I believe in God, will I say I'm Christian? No, I believe that there's God. I have a lot of friends that are different religions. I have a lot of Muslim friends, and which is Allah, which is God. I have friends that believe in other religions and stuff. So for me, it's just I don't I don't have a religion, but I do know that there's a God.
Interesting. Like in recent time, I've met people here in the UK that would say they are not religious, but that they are spiritual. I'm like, okay, people are trying to manipulate these terminologies, right? So, like, a lot of people do not like visit or frequent these religious institutions. There are people that are Muslims, but for example, they don't even go to a mosque. There are
Yeah.
people that are Christians, right? But they do not go to a church, but they have that strong conviction, right? That, there's a God that,
Yeah.
rules the affairs of men and everything. Even for me personally, right? Like, I've had like personal convictions in my own personal life. There have been things that have happened in my life, and, probably going through a difficulty, and then I put it to God in prayer, and like miraculously, like things just, change.
Things
Or
happen.
um, yeah, and I think, like, very how would I say, like, in recent years, in 2021, like, I had an auto accident, and then, this vehicle was somersaulting, and at the end of the accident, I think at at some point, for like 30 seconds, I really did not know where I was. I felt like I was going elsewhere, and then I felt like something pulled me back, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the incident, people who were rushing to the vehicle were asking, "Oh, is this person dead?" And then they were like, "Oh, wow, I was alive." And somebody told me, right, like, God loves you. God, has a purpose for your life. Around that time, but okay. And I discovered that if the vehicle had, swerved to the left, I would have gone down a bridge. And I think the probability of staying alive would have been very, very slim. But then, it swerved to the right, which,
Yeah.
was still on land, right? And then, it could tumble probably in like a safe manner.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
No, for
so
sure.
after that incident, right? Like, some people told me, like, see, like, God actually loves you. God is not done with your life. Like, God has a purpose for your life. And I think it just, resonated with me. It just stuck with me, and it made me start to see life differently, because
Yeah.
life is not like life is a gift. It's not privilege. Like, you're not privileged to be alive, right? It can be
No.
taken
One
from
day you're
you
here,
at
the
any
next
time,
day you're gone.
right?
Nobody.
And I feel like
Tomorrow isn't promised.
it was a promise, right? But then, when you go through situations like that, it makes you realize that there is a purpose why you're alive. And for me, I feel like that purpose is to impact other people positively, drop something positive to the world, have a positive impact on the world. But for you as a person, like, what are those, experiences, maybe a tough experience, a life and death experience, a redefining experience that you have gone through yourself, right? And has made you see life differently, and made you believe more in a higher purpose, in a higher cause, in the existence of God, right? So for
Yeah.
you, like, what would those experiences, be?
Yeah. I've been in a lot of experiences in my life. few life and death situations, that, that made me believe that there is a God. And I knew that, my purpose on this life, like, yes, I was a very good athlete. I'm a very good fighter and stuff, but my purpose in life is more than being a fighter. Yeah, more than being, an athlete. It's, where I've came from. I believe my purpose is to give to the future generation of kids, who have maybe been in my position, who grew up, not in a full family household, who got into trouble, and look for a path that, like, hey, I've been there. I was around gangs, I've been to prison. I hung around with drug dealers. I sold drugs. I did all this stuff. But you know what? Look at where I am today. People around the world know me, not just Edmonton. Because I tell people, if people only know you in Edmonton, I said, man, you can go across the world and ask somebody where Edmonton is, and they look at you like they don't know where Edmonton is. Right? So the bigger purpose for me is, sharing my life story and sharing my path that I've taken to got me to where I am today, to to let kids know that there's not only one way for people to notice you and to who you are.
Wow, that's a great one, really, because fighting is what has brought you into the limelight, but you're also giving back to the society, giving back to to people, and really, real wealth is about the number of people you're able to impact, not about like the numbers that sits in your bank account, right?
Yeah.
And it's really it's great to see that you're able to like impact people. So speaking of that, right, your fight journey, you also you have a gym,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. We have a gym here at Wolf House.
Okay, can you speak about like the whole business thing, right? And how
Yeah.
you impact the community with it?
Yeah, me and my partner Parvez, we have the gym Wolf House YEG. It's a full combat gym. Wrestling, boxing, Muay Thai, Jiu Jitsu. And we're kind of in a grimy area in Edmonton, right? But we also get a lot of kids that come off the streets, that come into the gym. And we give them that place where they can come to the gym, train, work out. And a lot of the kids that we have that are at the gym don't even pay membership fees, because they don't have the money to pay the membership fees. But we're just giving them an option to be off the streets and in the gym and do something productive with their life, compared to being out on the streets, hanging with the kids and getting into fights, stealing, doing all that type of stuff. So we bring them into the gym. We give them a home where everybody at the gym is like a family, and it helps them better on in their life, not only just in martial arts, but it helps them to set goals, helps them to keep jobs. We give them that influence to just because you have family members that aren't doing things with their life doesn't mean that you have to follow in that same path.
Interesting. So, like, is there any interesting story of a life that has been transformed, by way of the program that you'd like to share?
Man, we just like we have a lot of kids at the gym that come, that come from broken families. Both parents are alcoholics, and these kids start following down that path, and the odd times we'll just be driving down the street and we see them on the street, like hanging with their buddies. We pull over, yo, what are you doing here? Get your ass back into the gym. Stay out of trouble, because what you're doing out there on the streets is not going to be anything productive in your life. So we have a few stories. There's a few kids that come into the gym not really knowing that they could box, and all of a sudden they turn into provincial champions, Golden Glove champions.
Wow.
And we give them that push in life, that's saying, hey, you can do it. You just got to put your mind to it, right?
And that's real motivation, right?
Nothing
And
but the real deal, right?
Yeah, the real deal. That's real. That's real. So you coming back to you, you actually competed in like various weight classes, right, throughout your career. So can you talk about like the challenges and adjustments you require to move between weight classes and weight cuts? Weight cuts. How did you manage that process? It's a really grueling process.
Oh, yeah, that's why I tell everybody about fighting. The worst part about fighting is making weight. Other than that, you love it, right? But yeah, I fought in a few different weight classes. When I first started off in MMA, I fought at welterweight, which is 170 pounds. So I walk around 200, 205 pounds. So it's that transitioning of cleaning up the diet, doing everything proper, to make sure you make that weight. Um, Boxing, I fought at 168, super middleweight. I fought at light heavyweight, 175, and I've even taken a couple fights, I believe, at cruiserweight, so 199. Um,
Wow.
but me, it was just, I'm not. I like to fight, right? And if I feel that I can make those weight divisions for me were easy to move up and down from because I always knew that there was a starting point that I had to be at to make that weight. And I always got it done. I had trouble one time. I believe in 60 pro fights, I missed weight one time.
Wow, that's impressive, really, because we know quite a lot of people who are now notorious in recent time for missing weight. And in the
Yeah.
UFC, I think they take just like 30% of your pulse.
Yeah, 20%. Yeah, you get 20% of your purse taken. So, that's one thing that when you're making big money, you don't want to be given 20% of that purse. So you better make that weight. And if you don't,
But
and if you don't make the weight, I am fine with still fighting you, whooping your ass, and taking that 20%.
20%. But then I think Israel Adesanya, he was like that 20% is too small. That they should sort of increase it because there are a lot of gangster fighters who make more money outside of the UFC, right,
Oh yeah.
than what they make within the UFC. So they'll gladly miss weight and upset their opponents. Well, what do you think about that? Like that discipline of making the weight? Should the penalty be bigger?
Well, I think 20% is a good chunk of money if somebody's making 100 grand. So and it's always up to the fighter. You'll always see which guys want to fight and which guys don't. If a guy misses weight by 1 pound and you opt out to fight, well, to me that's saying you're scared. It's only 1 pound. If somebody came on over 10 pounds, I had a guy come over, I think came over 8 pounds. And you know what? I made him pay the night of the fight for that 8 pounds.
Hmm.
I wasn't trying to take him out early. I was giving him a little lesson. Next time you come, you're going to make weight.
Hmm.
Because when your face don't look the same the next day, you know you did something wrong.
But why do fighters do like that? Sometimes you're in a fight and you're outclassing this guy, but you don't want to knock him out. You want the fight to extend, right? So
Hey,
he
it's
takes
it's
enough
because
punishment.
that's what that's the thing with us fighters. Some of us, we take it personal, right? And if I know I can beat you up for 3 rounds and I'm good to beat you up for 3 rounds, I'm gonna give you a lesson instead of just knock you out in the first.
Hmm. But then it's a risk versus reward thing, right?
Yes,
You
so
can
you
knock
got
this
to be
guy
very
out, and
confident in yourself because you are taking
yeah,
a risk.
very big risk because some guys are you know very dangerous, especially when they are hurt.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
They are live dogs and they can take you out at any time, at any given time. Look at somebody like Chita Vera, Marlon Chita Vera,
Yeah.
in his fight against Sean O'Malley. You saw what he was doing in the fifth round, even
Oh
though Sean
yeah.
O'Malley had pieced him up in the first 4 rounds. and that liver shot in the fifth round, that was deadly.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So, because in my head, I felt like Sean O'Malley was hitting this guy with like various, strong, crazy strikes, right? But then Chito did not quit. So, but I felt like it wasn't like Sean was just being extra cautious, because there were times in which it was clear Chito was very hurt, but he did not swarm in. He did not, just brush it
Go
and
off.
try to,
Yeah.
go for the kill. What do you think about that kind of approach?
See, there's sometimes in the fight where you know what, it's your coach got to tell you, bite down on that mouth guard and go. It's either you knock him out or he knocks you out. Which way you want to win? You want to win or you want to lose, right? So, it's always gets to that situation where there's no more time. This is the last round. You got to go 100 or you're losing the fight. That's why when I fight, I go 100 all the time.
But when you're controlling the other guy like Sean O'Malley, right? Do you think it's a good thing to take that risk to try to knock him out, or just have a measured approach and know, okay, I am not taking that risk, I'm coasting to victory?
Yeah. I like to finish, right? I don't like I don't like to be a coaster. I don't like to coast the fight knowing I'm winning and okay, I can take this round off. It's like, nah, man, that's not me. But hey, some other fighters, that's the way that they work, right? That's the way that they like it. I'm just not that guy.
Because for me, okay, I'm a fighter at heart, but not a proper fighter. I'm a finance professional, right? But then I love the fight game so much that I have become like so heavily invested. Speaking with UFC athletes, guys from Bellator. I'm an MMA pundit, right? But then in the course of researching and studying, different styles, I discovered that some principles from finance still apply to the game of fighting, such as risk and reward, right?
Yeah.
You need to measure the risks versus the reward you're getting, for the fight. For some fights, they are high stakes fights. For example, championship fights.
Yeah.
You probably want to coast to a victory because you know that you're fighting a really deadly guy, and any one mistake you make can cost you the title. I'll give an example. Look at my boy, Kamaru Usman, in that second fight against Leon Edwards.
Yeah.
Right. He had beaten Leon Edwards for the first 4 rounds, right? But then he wasn't coasting to victory, right? Like in that fifth round, he could have easily taken Leon Edwards down and try to hold him on the ground, ground and pound, clinch to the end of the fifth round. He won the first four rounds, right? But then Luke, he was still actively trying to piece him up, and boom. The rest is history. What happened happened. Headshot dead.
Headshot.
Right? So what do you say? What do you say about the risk versus reward? Of trying to finish or coasting to victory. Like, what
that's the thing is, the fans don't want to see people coasting, right? Like, he could have coasted that fight and won, and then got a lot of backlash because he just took him down, held him down just to grind out the fight, right? So it works both ways, right? Like, you're gonna get backlash for coasting, or you're gonna get backlash for trying to finish the fight and getting knocked out. But so to me, I like a guy who goes out there and tries to finish. And hey, if it happens that he ended up getting finished, you know what? It's just the luck. It's the fight game. It just happens, right? So, yeah, it all depends, what they're thinking.
Okay. When I was speaking with David Feldman, right, of BKFC, we were talking about how it is quite impossible, given the style of bare knuckle fighting, for you to coast to victory because you
You
have to
can't,
be very active. You have to be
especially in that
active.
small ring they have now.
Mhm. So is that something you've ever considered doing, the bare knuckle?
Oh yeah, I'd like to
Yeah.
retire on the bare knuckle, but for me, you got to make some dollars because I know I'm gonna be busting my hands up and I'm gonna be busting my face up, right? Because in that
Mhm.
sport, when you hit, it hurts, and when you get hit, it hurts. So, you got to show me those hurt money.
If it's not making money, it's not making sense,
If it
man.
don't make dollars, it don't make sense, especially for bare knuckle.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. You don't want to be in it and not make it, that big payday. You want the red panty night, according
Yeah,
to Conor McGregor.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Okay, so speaking of training, right? Training is quite crucial. Your regimen and training, right? But can you give us like a glimpse of what a typical training day is for you?
Oh, in training camp, it could be 2 times or 3 times a day. You either mornings always start off with 5K run. Rest up a bit. Afternoon, it depends if you're fighting mixed martial arts or boxing. It's trying to cram in a few different disciplines for mixed martial arts in a day. Or boxing, it's just the repetitive things. Run, bag work, shadow work. Skipping, all that stuff. With in this sport, if you want to become the best, you got to eat, breathe, and live training. It's you
Mm.
know, it's you can't be 50% in and 50 out. You got to be 100 in, or just don't even do it because you're gonna get hurt.
Hmm. So speaking of eating and breathing training, right? My next question is actually about nutrition and recovery, right? So these actually play a very significant, role in an athlete's performance, right? So how do you get to manage these aspects, especially during a fight camp, nutrition and
Yeah,
recovery?
nowadays it's always good to get a nutrition coach, right? Nutrition coach that's been around the fight game. Not a bodybuilding coach, not a physique coach, but a coach that has been around the fight game that knows what fighters need to perform and also what they need to do to recover and to make weight. That's a big key because now you have these weight cut dietitian guys that are out there, and um, my boy TJ, he's actually one of them. My last 6 weight cuts have been the easiest weight cuts in 60 pro fights. Because
Hmm.
before I used to do it the hard way, layer up 5 suits on, throw the bike in the sauna, and ride the bike in the sauna. Until we get the weight off. Now it's
Hmm.
like, what? Eat the proper meals. Sit in the bath for a little bit, cut the weight. Then you even get to eat again at nighttime, and you wake up even less weight. I said, "Oh man, these
Wow.
these diet guys know what they're talking about."
Wow. That's a method to the madness.
There's a method to the madness, and it all comes with an investment. If you want to make things easy, you got to invest in yourself.
Exactly. That's actually true. You have to spend money to make money.
You have to.
Definitely. So MMA, is quite evolving rapidly. And how do you keep up with the new techniques, the new strategies in the sport? And is there like an area you're currently focusing on improving on?
I'm retired from MMA now, so I won't be fighting no
But
more
then you
MMA.
are a coach. You are a
Yeah,
coach.
yeah. So I pretty much, for me, it's just the guys that we got in our gym for MMA. It's them just learning the basics. Learning the basics with
Okay.
wrestling, basics with striking. The basics in jujitsu, and then you just tailor the fight game to what they bring. You never. For me, I see sometimes a lot of coaches try to change the way that fighters are. You can't do that. There's a natural instinct in a person when they come to fight. So you got to see what they have in their tool belt and work with those things and add things to it, right? You can't just change it up, because when you try to change it up, it don't work out.
Hmm. Yeah, you can't really change who a human being is, right? And a lot of
You,
people get that wrong. I think even in organizations like outside of sports, people try to do that. Like you have a certain character attribute that you want people to have, and then you want people to fit into those boxes. And it's quite difficult having people fit into those boxes. But rather, when you let people come as they are, and then you have certain tasks you want them to achieve, you use that diversity, and that's why diversity and inclusion is quite a big thing even in the corporate world right now. Like you have
Yeah.
people having different perspectives, different strengths, different weaknesses coming together in order to achieve goals and objectives, and
Big
you see
things,
that actually
exactly.
does work better. Yeah, big things do happen in that kind of situation. So every fighter experiences their highs and lows, right? So can you share some moments of personal triumphs, and some moments of personal challenges in the course of your career? I think the UFC, they call it the thrill and the agony.
Yeah. No, I've had in my professional boxing career, if you go and look at my record, it's 17 wins with 9 losses. But you can take 8 of those losses and put them on my wins and keep that one loss there. As most of the fights that I lost, were all from robberies with boxing politics, me being in their hometown, their country, fighting their guy on their promotion, So, I had a lot of, like we were talking before, the risk and rewards, like I could fight in Edmonton, the whole time that I was traveling fighting, and be beating up the odd Mexican here and there. But for me, there's no risk. So there was no reward. Whereas, I would fly over to the other side of the country and fight a guy in the top 25. And, if I beat him, there's a big reward, but it's also a big risk
Definitely.
too, going into enemy territory, right? But me, I was that guy, you know, like I said, yeah, he's beat these guys. He hasn't fought me yet. And,
Mm.
I had a few fights, lose on decision, and I'm talking like not 6 round, 8 round decisions. I fought three top 25 guys in the world and did 36 rounds in 6 months in boxing, and I
That's
lost
a tough strength of
decision.
schedule.
You know what I'm saying? And I lost 3 decisions in their home countries in 12-round world title fights, and then all of a sudden, they call me back, want me to come to Munich, Germany to fight their undefeated prospect, fought in the Olympics, undefeated on their promotion. I said, sure. You know what? I this is the one thing where I said, God's got to do something for me. I said, man, he sees how I leave my family. I go for training camp. I'm going overseas fighting these guys, and they're just robbing me from the decisions. Well, I got robbed in Berlin, Germany in February. 12-round WBC title fight. I got robbed in February. They messaged me at the end of February, asked me if I wanted to fight in April for the WBC title in Munich, Germany. And I said, you damn right I am. I came back home, I trained, I went back there, and I knocked him out in the 8th round and won the WBC title. But you know what? I could have given
Fantastic.
up. I could have given up, the 4 times before that, because it was starting to get to me a bit, going away and fighting, knowing that I'm dedicating my
Mm.
life and everything, and then me just getting robbed, winning the fight, but not winning the judges because they're not on my side.
Mm.
And I
Exactly.
went after this one, and get this, when I won my WBC title fight, the 3rd round, the guy blows me. They take a point away from him. I knock him out in the 8th round. We get the scorecards after. Guess what they gave him in the 3rd round? 10-9.
Whoa. Te-
I'm like,
After a point deduction,
I'm like,
how?